Well, today a massive fire broke out at the Marathon Petroleum Plant in Garyville. It prompted nearby residents to evacuate as the fire flared up multiple times for hours. Our Whitney Miller joining us now live outside of the Marathon facility with the very latest. Whitney.
Well, good evening, Sharice. Yeah, the good news is that fire here tonight is contained. The concern now are these small flare-ups that have been happening throughout the evening and the air quality. And today was a wild ride for residents who live near this plant. There were evacuations, school lockdowns, and concerns for health and safety with news of this massive fire. Just before 7 a.m. Friday morning, residents in Garyville got a rude awakening.
I looked down, it was a bunch of black smoke coming up.
A massive fire roaring at the Marathon Petroleum Plant off of Airline Highway.
Went and warned some people on the other side, woke them up, told them the refinery was on fire.
At a press conference, Marathon officials said one of their storage tanks was leaking into a perimeter containment area, and the chemical somehow ignited.
The product that is contained in our perimeter around the tank ignited, and that's where the fire is.
The strong flames and the threat of dangerous fumes pushed St. John Parish President Jacqueline Hotard to order a mandatory evacuation within a 2-mile radius of the plant. Some schools locked down.
It's hectic. Everybody's waiting for their child. There's one administrator running from class to class to get each child, so I had to wait for about 30 minutes just to get him. 2
nearby schools became evacuation shelters. Justin Johnson was at work when he found out about the fire and quickly thought of his wife and dog Chevy.
A bunch of people on Facebook said they had an evacuation, so I told her she needed to get the dog and evacuate, of course.
He says Chevy wasn't too happy.
He's not much of a car rider, so he wasn't too excited about the situation.
Blaine email says his family and the sounds of police in the area pushed him to leave.
The cops going up and down on the loudspeaker, telling everybody it was a mandatory evacuation.
Around 2 p.m. the order was lifted and the fire was mostly extinguished, but flames and smoke continued to flare up throughout the evening. Yeah, that concern now are the fumes from the concern now is the fumes from the product that has been burning all day. There has been some air monitoring that's been conducted in this community throughout the day, and so far officials tell us that the air has not been impacted at this time, but our Eleanor Tabone has more on the health concerns.
And you look outside your house and the sky is black.
Hillary Camberry had to flee the safety of his home because he worried about what he could be breathing in.
To the center is probably another 500 foot from where the fire was at this morning. So it's about 1,500 feet from where the fire was at.
According to the plant, the chemical on fire is called naphtha. It's a component in the production of gasoline. It's highly flammable and comprised of hydrogen and carbon. Behind this fence is the Marathon Petroleum Plant. They're Hillary's literal next-door neighbours. Hillary told me earlier today he and other residents experienced dizziness, headaches and nausea. Health experts say they could all be symptoms of today's fire. Dr. Rustin Reed with Tulane University School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine says in addition to the naphtha, there are other chemical particles in the air. That's a concern.
A lot of the black smoke that we see is also from other materials in the area. So, you may have had some trucks or vehicles nearby, rubber tires, metal, typical combustible materials like boxes and wood.
He says those with respiratory issues need to take precautions because this fire could make them worse.
If I had a respiratory condition like asthma or COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, then I would avoid going outdoors.
People call this Cancer Lane.
Some residents are concerned about the long-term effects this fire could have on their health.
I think it could be pretty hazardous, There's no telling what we're breathing in.
Dr. Reed suggests those who evacuated to change their HVAC filters. He advises those with serious respiratory health problems to not come back for at least 24 hours. Eleanor Tabone, Eyewitness News.
And Sharice, tonight around 7 o'clock, a 24-hour hotline was put online for any community members who feel they may have been impacted by this incident. You can submit a claim by calling 866-601-5880. For now, live in Garyville, Whitney Miller, Eyewitness News.
All right, Whitney, thank you so much for that update. A house caught fire near the fairgrounds. It happened at around 3 o'clock on the 2800 block of O'Reilly Street. Crews say it was a 3-alarm fire and damaged several homes nearby. Residents were able to safely escape. The cause of the fire is now under investigation. And as firefighters are being worn thin working in this extreme heat, officials made some changes to the statewide burn ban today. Now, the change removes the rule that would allow local governments or fire departments to add exceptions. That means all private burning is now banned. The state fire marshal says he's making the burn ban more strict due to the ongoing dry conditions and the lack of rain.